The prognosticars of the Grey Knights, their minds steeped in shadow and flame, turned the speculum and furnace towards the immaterium, and recoiled. Through the warped lens, they beheld a storm of power coalescing on a blighted world known as Sortarius. At its heart loomed the demon Primarch Magnus, a being of apocalyptic intent, gathering psychic might with a fury that defied comprehension. Yet even the most gifted among the prognosticars could not pierce the veil of his true purpose. They only saw the echoes of a terrible design. Fearing the birth of some unspeakable catastrophe, the Grey Knights assembled a strike force, anointed in sigils of warding and bound by blood oaths to intercept the Crimson King before his will could be made manifest. But the truth behind Magnus's scheme was far darker than they feared. In the wake of the galaxy's psychic awakening, Magnus had turned his gaze towards a vile genesis. Upon the cyclopean ruins of Sartorius, he would erect a psychic beacon, a blasphemous lure to draw the gifted and the damned alike. Psychers, witches, and latent minds from across the stars would be ensnared, their souls pulled into orbit around his throne of madness. Some would be twisted into demon hosts, screaming husks bound to warp entities. Others would be butchered upon altars consecrated to Zeech, their agony-fueling rites older than Terra itself. And still worse, from his profane beacon, a surge of psychic corruption would be unleashed, saturating the entire sector in unnatural growth, accelerating the development of raw psychic potential like rot spreading through flesh. It would be a dark enlightenment, a forced evolution without mercy or control. But this would only be the opening act. Magnus, ever the architect of damnation, envisioned himself as the shepherd of humanity's next phase, not as guardians of the species, but as its recreator. Through fire, blood, and warpcraft, he would shape mankind into a race of psychic demigods. In the long shadow cast by the Great Rift, the Grey Knights found their strength waning, their forces scattered across a galaxy of flame. Only Brother Captain Arvin Stern's Third Brotherhood could be spared to confront a rising threat upon this world. Even with reinforcements, the Imperium's finest demon hunters knew their numbers would not suffice. Thus, a rare alliance was forged in silence and secrecy. The Grey Knights called upon the Dark Angels, one of the few chapters who knew of their hidden war and possessed the strength to answer it. From the depths of their own worlds left by the rift, the Sons of the Lion responded. Master Lazarus led his reinforced Fifth Company to war. The two strike forces converged upon the cursed Prospero system. As Sartorius loomed ahead, auguries confirmed their fears. Magnus the Red, demon Primarch and architect of fate, was enacting that unspeakable ritual. Orbital fire was rendered useless, the site shielded by warp-infused energies. Strategy dictated division. The Grey Knights would strike at the ritual heart, while the Dark Angels would assault the temple, both to sever the flow of power and to draw forth the 1,000 suns in force. However, as the Grey Knights advanced, reality fractured. Illusions born of warpcraft and madness ensnared them, turning every step into a labyrinth of lies. Faced with a choice between prudence and damnation, the librarians unleashed their minds into the warp. Their gambit did not shatter the veil. Instead, it tore open a rift. From it emerged a legend, Caldor Drago, the lost Grand Master wreathed in silver flame, his blade echoing with the names of slain demons. With his returns, the illusions were banished like smoke before a storm, the path to the ritual made clear. Yet the 1,000 Suns' numbers were vast, and their sorceries deep. As Drago led the charge towards the ritual's core, Stern finally saw the truth. They would not reach Magnus alone. A signal needed to be sent, and the Dark Angels were called to the flame. On Sartorius, where the air itself writhed with unseen horrors, and the ground pulsing with the heartbeat of the warp, Vox contact was a dead thing, choked out by the Empyrean interference and demonic malice. Sound died in the static, but thought still cut through. Desperate, the Grey Knights reached out across the warp with their minds and found Librarian Barbakiel of the Dark Angels. What they heard chilled even their war-hardened souls. Barakiel's voice, strained and discordant, told of success. The temple's power had been broken, the shielding around the ritual site shattered. However, the Dark Angels were retreating. Stern had apparently sent word that the ritual was ended, that victory had been achieved, but Stern had said no such thing. With grim certainty, the brother captain recognized the cruel hand of the great deceiver. This was not victory, it was deception, crafted by demons to fracture their alliance and doom the mission. Stern's psychic cry cut through the miasma. The ritual endures. We need your blades now, or all is lost. But the Dark Angels were too far. What came next was born of desperation and sacrifice. The librarians of both chapters, their minds tempered in the fires of 1,000 battles, knew what needed to be done. A tunnel through the warp, an arcane soul-rending passage, could bridge the divide, but it would demand a price: their lives. One by one, they bled their essence into the void, weaving a psychic conduit between 2 points in reality with all the precision of martyrdom. As their bodies burned out from within, the tunnel stabilized, and the Dark Angels came. Together, the sons of Titan and Caliban fought through shrieking storms of sorcery and demonkin, but the enemy swelled like a tide of screaming madness, endless and hungering. Brother Captain Stern, bloodied and relentless, saw the truth in the face of his dying warriors. They would not reach Magnus, and so he chose damnation. A psychic beacon was raised amidst the carnage, its signal pure and as sharp as a blade. Far above, aboard the purging sword, targeting runes locked upon it. And then came fire. The bombardment vaporized the ritual site, and the demons entwined with it. Grey Knights and Dark Angels were caught within the blast, consumed without time for prayer or thought. Their sacrifice was total, but it was enough. Magnus's scheme had died screaming. The survivors fell back under a rain of warp fire and psychic hatred. The 1,000 suns, robbed of their prize, lashed out in fury. Transports screamed into the sky as void shields strained and hulls cracked under the weight of wrathful sorcery. Stern, Drago, and Lazarus all escaped the burning world, but many did not. They left behind brothers, Grey Knights and Dark Angels alike, taken alive. A fate more terrible than death awaited them on Sartorius. Dissection of the soul, force pacts with entities beyond comprehension, or worse, demonic transformation. The memory of those left behind gnawed at the victors. There could be no rest, no peace, and so, from the hallowed chambers of Titan, Castellan champion Garen Crow was dispatched, blade in hand, soul unbroken, to walk once more into the jaws of the impossible. For even in hell, a Grey Knight does not abandon his own.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.